This video deserves the wittiest of intro lines, but unfortunately I have not come up with one, so you'll just have to make do with this totally unwitty intro line. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. This is such an exciting tag. Oh my goodness, I know, take a shot because I say that every time, but it is a brand spanking new tag created by Cockshutt of Read, Write, Create with Cockshutt. I will link her original video down below, and it's even more exciting because she created it to celebrate the read-along that we are co-hosting along with Scott of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot and Sina of Beating Around the Books. Starting tomorrow, November 12th, we will be kicking off with a live show. We're reading Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. I'm going to link to an announcement video up here with all the details, but I could not get to this new tag, the Discworld Books tag, without mentioning that. As you will have guessed, this tag is all inspired by the Discworld and Discworld characters and series and stuff like that. So let's get to it. I'm going to start with the end, which is, fun fact before the final bit, Going Postal doesn't have a chapter 8 and instead has a chapter 7a between chapters 7 and 9. So prompt 7a is to tag people. I know she's on hiatus right now, but I'm going to tag Emrita of Emrita by the Book because I kid you not, the first video I ever saw on her channel was about Discworld and why people should read it. I watched that, I was like, yeah, this is the channel for me, we're gonna be friends, and hey, I wasn't wrong. So I have to tag her in this. I'm also going to tag Lana of Lana Ex Libris. She has just started reading Discworld. I think she's read 1 or 2 of the novels, maybe, but I think she enjoyed them and I think she'll have some interesting answers, so I'm gonna tag her as well. I don't think Margaret Pinard is a Discworld fan, although there is still time to convert her, but she has a lot to say about stories, so since this tag is really has a lot to do with stories and that sort of thing, I think she'll have some fun answers. I'm relatively new to Anna Mo Shoshin's channel, so I don't know if she's a Discworld fan or not, but based on some of the other books she likes, I feel like if she isn't, she would if she read it, so I'm going to tag her as well. And finally, I'm going to tag Kevi of Se Kevi because if I am not misremembering, she is reading her first ever Discworld novel as part of the Going Postal read-along. And that is so exciting! I have to tag her. I hope she will love it as much as I do. Alright, let us circle back to the beginning and answer some of the questions. Or not some of the questions, we're going to answer all the questions. Before I start, I want to shout out the fact that I'm not actually going to talk about books in this video. In her original tag video, Cockshutt called out the fact that in each of these prompts, she's explicitly mentioned stories, not books, because she wants people to feel free to put in like TV shows or movies or whatever form of story they would like to and not feel like they have to answer with just books. And that got me thinking that I tend to talk about the same handful of books when I do this sort of tag where there's a prompt that asks you to talk about a book with this or with that, because those are the books that come to mind. Those are the books that I remember. Those are the ones that I'm excited to talk about to you guys all the time. But that's a bit boring, right? There's one of these prompts that if you've looked at them down in the description, longtime viewers will be going, oh, it's Franny Fisher, right? I won't lie. When I first saw the questions, I was like, well, how can I answer anything other than Franny Fisher for that prompt? So I've decided to, as I said, not use any books in my answers. Instead, I want to take a moment to call out some of the TV shows that I'm really liking and really enjoy. This is not an exhaustive list because obviously I picked ones that fit with the prompts, but I thought that might be kind of fun and it might let me share some things with you guys that you haven't heard from me before, which I feel like is more interesting for all of us. Alright, that was the world's longest preamble about how I'm going to be answering these questions. Let's get into it. Prompt 1 is The Witches. What is your favorite story where the so-called odd folk are far kinder than normal folk? For this, I have chosen the Dirk Gently series, which is on It's on Netflix or Prime. The first step to enjoying this absolutely bonkers series is to move past the fact and any expectation you have that it is going to be in any way linked to the Dirk Gently books by Douglas Adams. I love those books. It's been a few years since I've read them, but I really like them. This series, as far as I can remember, has nothing to do with them other than the name of the main character. However, despite having nothing really to do with these fantastic books, this show is incredible. I think I've seen it 3 or maybe 4 times now, and every single time I watch it, I am just so in awe of everything that it is and everything that it is doing. If I had to describe it, I guess I would say it's a sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, adventure show, I guess? It is also, and I'm gonna read this because I wrote it last night and I want to communicate it exactly as I was thinking it then. It's weird as fuck. It's so fucking complicated and random. It's hilarious, and it has phenomenal character stories and relationships and depth. I feel like what I have just said barely scratches the surface at describing this show, and I don't know how many other ways I can communicate how much I love it without it becoming incredibly repetitive. So we're gonna move on to the next prompt, but seriously, oddball outsider characters who are just the best people. Sort of. Also sometimes really shitty people. Prompt 2 is The City Watch, your favorite police procedural or sleuthing story where the hero/heroes creates nearly as much drama as the villains. Oh my goodness. I think my favorite police procedural show of all time, ever, the absolute gold standard for me, is Wellington Paranormal. This is a mockumentary comedy horror in the style of What We Do in the Shadows, which makes sense because it is also created by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. If you have seen What We Do in the Shadows as many times as I have, you will know that at one point a pair of cops show up because there have been noise complaints about this house of vampires who are having vampire issues. And these 2 random cops come in and basically tell everyone to keep it quiet. Wellington Paranormal follows those cops and their sergeant as they are like a secret undercover task force within the Wellington police taking on supernatural issues in the city, but not like a cool secret task force, like hilarious, ridiculous secret task force. I am not describing this show well. Just watch a preview, watch an episode. It is absolutely amazing. This is the problem with talking about stuff I like. I just have no words for it. I'm just like, it's so good, watch it. Prompt 3 is Death. What is your favorite story that moves away from painting death as life's ultimate villain? This one's maybe a bit of a stretch, but the show Ghosts on the BBC, I've seen the trailer for the CBS, I think it's CBS. There's an American adaptation that's been made and I think is coming out now-ish. I watched the trailer because I love the BBC version so much that I was like, oh, maybe could I get more? Would that be possible? And it didn't have the vibe. It just didn't have it. So I haven't watched the American version, but the BBC version is amazing. I should actually tell you about what this show is. My goodness, I'm a mess. In order to tell you what it is though, I have to rewind slightly and say that this is maybe way too niche of an interest, but I absolutely love the BBC Kids show, Horrible Histories. Well, Ghosts is the same creators, the same cast, because they do both, but in an adult sitcom. The premise is that this millennial couple who are trying to buy a home, but like, you guys know the property market, and they can't afford anything and it's really demoralizing, and they find out that they've inherited a manor house in the countryside through like a long lost aunt type situation. And so they come out and they're gonna renovate this house. They discover that it is full of ghosts, and the various ghosts are from, of course, various times in history, and it's a sitcom about people in a house with ghosts. I don't know how to describe it that makes it sound compelling, because that sounds so weird and like not very good, but it is phenomenal. I binge watched the entire show in like 3 days in September, I immediately turned around and was like, okay, Bear, you need to watch this show because it's phenomenal and I love it so much and I need to share this, and like, also can we rewatch it together now? So we've been doing that and he loves it just as much. It's amazing. I think I might have mentioned this already. It's probably a stretch for this prompt because it's not like death is a character or anything like that, but it is all about this group of people after their death and the experiences they have after their death and the growth that they experience. Let's loop it again. I just love it. Prompt 4 is Moist Fun LIPWIG. What is your favorite story featuring the ultimate anti-hero? I know I've mentioned this show a few times before as something I absolutely adore, but it's Leverage, the TV show. In this one, we follow a group of 4 thieves and a former insurance investigator who at various times has sort of tracked all of them down as they team up to take on the real bad guys in society, the companies and politicians and all of that sort of stuff who use their money and their power to hurt people and get away with it. So the typical setup is that some ordinary person or couple or whatever have had some terrible thing happen to them and some big company is responsible but is burying them in legal fees or hiding evidence or whatever and making it impossible for them to get justice for this horrible wrong that has been done to them. And then the team go in and through various cons and heists and stuff like that, get whatever is needed to help their client. The tagline is something along the lines of sometimes the only good guys are bad guys. I love it so much. It's got actual like real social message type stuff. It's also incredibly hilarious, has huge levels of extreme overcompetence. All of these people are way too good at what they do and I live for it. But the part that like I think really sets it aside for me is the found family in this is so good and so wonderful, and I'm just such a hoe for found family, and this is maybe my favorite example in anything. It's a great show, okay? Prompt 5 is RINCEWIND / The Wizards. What is your favorite story featuring eccentric academics or academic institutions? Friends, is there any answer except Dairy Girls? In this case, the academic institution isn't like a university or anything like that. It's a Catholic girls' school in Northern Ireland in the 1990s. Again, I just love it so much that I had to talk about it, and this was where it fit best. If you are unfamiliar, it is a sitcom about 4 teenage girls and their English male friend / cousin navigating life in Northern Ireland in the 1990s, but in the most teenage way possible. I think it's hilarious. I think it's brilliant. I saw just the other day that they've started filming the 3rd season and I'm so excited. Prompt 6 is Tiffany Aching and the Knack-Mack FEEGLES. What is your favorite coming of age story? All right, this is almost certainly cheating a bit, but I've chosen the Good Omens show that's on Amazon Prime. This is of course based on the novel of the same name by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, in which an angel and a demon save up to stop the apocalypse because they've decided that actually Earth is quite nice and they wouldn't like to see it destroyed. There are a lot of non-coming of age elements in this book and in this show, but there is also the plot line about the Antichrist, who is coming of age. He is coming into himself. And that is just such an interesting coming of age storyline and way of approaching that sort of story. I love it. It's another show. I mean, everything on the list, you can basically assume that I have watched so many times and that I will always be rewatching because they're so phenomenal. If Dirk Gently was an amazing show despite being a terrible adaptation, Good Omens is a phenomenal adaptation. Neil Gaiman has been incredibly involved with the process of adapting the book to a show, and I think it really shows. The show captures a tone and a feeling that you get in the novel and it translates it into television so perfectly well. This is another show that I just recently saw that they're making a second season. The original season of Good Omens came out many years ago, and it looked like there wasn't going to be a second season because the first season totally wrapped up the novel. It was perfect, it was self-contained, but it's just been announced that they're filming a second season, and Neil Gaiman has said that it's really, really heavily based on notes that he and Pratchett had laid out like 15, 20 years ago for a sequel to Good Omens, and that he's really involved. So I have absolute confidence that that is also going to be incredible, and I can't wait. I have so much incredible television to watch already, but like, these things need to come out because I'm so hyped for them. Thank you, Jeremy, for suggesting hyped as a possible synonym to excited on my November TBR. One more prompt and then I promise I will stop being such a fangirl. And the final prompt is Discworld. What story has some of the best world building elements you can think of? I mean, so many of these work for that prompt, but I'm gonna pick something new, and I'm choosing the TV show The Librarians. This is from the same creator as Leverage, and it stars one of the same actors. There's a magical library and 3 incredibly intelligent and capable people who haven't really been able through their circumstances to let that side of themselves shine, are sort of pulled together to save this library and save the world from magical baddies. There's definitely some critical conversations we could have about this show. The fact that it is a library, it's kind of got a museum-y type thing. They take a lot of magical artifacts in to keep them safe and out of the wrong hands. The fact that all of this is being done by a group that is based in the US and composed entirely of people from the global north. You know, there's a lot of conversations that could be had relating to the general conversation about global north museums being filled with artifacts that are not our own. But in the context of world building and in the context of story, this show is absolutely fantastic. The way the magic system in this world works, the way all of that is set up is just so fun, so interesting, and again, just another show that I like so much. Okay, I don't remember the last time I have filmed so much footage for a tag video, so we'll see how long this ends up cutting down to. These prompts were just really interesting, and it was weirdly refreshing to talk about TV shows instead of books because, as I said at the beginning, I tell you about my favorite books all the time, and that's great. This is a book channel. Don't worry, it's not going to become a TV channel. But I think it was really fun to think about stories and story traits that I like in this other context, and because I don't get to be excited about them all the time, there was so much more like energy behind it. I hope that came across to you guys. I hope this was enjoyable. Let me know down below, what is your favorite story of any type? Any genre, any media type, whatever it is. I want to know about stories that you guys love. And if you liked this video, please give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.